Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Blood and Plunder as we work our way through more of the legendary pirates. Today we got a very interesting one in the form of Black Caesar. Really cool history and background on him. Definitely check that out. Also fantastic model. So let's jump right in too, because like Blackbeard, we not only get the character, he's got his custom force, which we've done a video on as well, but he's also an upgrade character, and so we get another use out of him if you don't necessarily want to run him as a leader. So let's jump right in. He's clocking in at 22 points if we take him as a leader, and he does have the option again for his custom force, which obviously will play well to his abilities and everything. But you could also run him in the Golden Age Pirates if you wanted to try that out as well. So let us know in the comments too where you think he's best, or do you think he's just better as an upgrade character? Now, he doesn't quite have the normal layout as far as gear goes that most of the other pirates seem to come with. So there's no pistols, there's no brace of pistols. Dude is rocking a blunderbuss, as you can see from the model. So he is ready for some serious action, although model depicted does have some pistols and stuff. But anyway, would be cool to have that as like an extra option as well. But then he has the standard melee weapon, of course. Don't leave home without that. Has a smaller command range, right? So it's something to factor in, but 8-inch command range, 2 command points. Again, plenty to work with there, but he's not at that upper level of having that 3rd command point and a little bit better range. But his abilities, I think, will be quite attractive to run here. So he's got, first of all, we'll kind of work in alphabetical order here. God's Blessing or the Devil's Luck. We've seen that a lot with pirates, and it's a fantastic one because we get that all-important 4th fortune point. If we think back to the major nations and a lot of the characters, that is a very rare ability to see. Only a few seem to have that, but here a lot of the pirates do have it. So having that 4th fortune point lets us be a lot more liberal with our uses of our fortune points, and we kind of pull the trigger on that at least one more time, so we don't have to necessarily debate as much on when to employ those fortune points. We can again be a little bit more aggressive with those. So good stuff there. Now, dude is also going to be very nasty in combat. So we've got hard chargers, right? When charging, his unit receives a -1 bonus to the fight test for the free fight action. So in all of our unit choices and everything that we have available to him, right, we want to make sure that ideally, if we're going to, want to actually expose him to combat. Now we got to be careful on what we're going up against still, right? There's no need to be reckless and just jump into combat. After combat, eventually you're going to take some casualties and or get shot at and things like that, and we don't want to have our important character here go down. But a -1 bonus to the fight test, if you think about that with some of the units that are a little bit more geared towards close combat, that's going to be pretty nasty. More hits, right? Hopefully equals more casualties against the opponent to where they're either just completely destroyed or left in a condition where realistically they're not going to fight back very well against you. Combine that then with some of his other abilities here at the end where we have Ruthless and Tough. Those are fantastic ones that work together. Now Ruthless, you'll see a lot of units that have that anyway. But when whatever unit he's joining, right, he's going to get that as well, and we see that a lot across again units and other factions, things like that. But basically, we get a -1 bonus to shoot tests with small arms, not explosives, and fight tests with units that have more fatigue than his unit. So that being said, you can already see where that can be a nice combination with hard chargers, right? Really fits together. So if we can set things up in the sort of sequence of the turn where we've put some damage on enemy units, they've got some fatigue, things like that, all over the place. Before we get into combat and using his unit, right, we want to make sure that the unit we're fighting has at least 1 more point of fatigue than we do, whether it's we have none and they have 1, or 1 to 2, and so on and so forth. But getting that -2 bonus to that initial combat really is going to ensure that we just basically one-shot units in most cases, if the dice are at least being decent to us, right? So absolutely fantastic there, and it's really just a condition that we have to ensure happens. So we're not having to spend any resources like command points or fortune to have Ruthless active. So Ruthless is in this case quite a nasty ability. Now where we get a little bit of defense on his side, right, because we're going to be probably fighting a fair bit. So if his unit ends an activation with any amount of fatigue and it didn't push or gain any during the activation, now that's always going to be tough there, right? Because if we do fight, we're going to gain a fatigue there. But if we can kind of space that out amongst turns, then basically, if we didn't again push or gain any during the activation, we can remove a point of fatigue at the end of the activation for free. So, well, very, very well worth spreading the combats out. Right, we don't always want to have to do the whole lifting for the army or the force here, but yeah, just when we do need to engage, right, it needs to be absolutely devastating. So hard chargers and ruthless, right, get that together. But then in other turns, hopefully, if we haven't, if we've had fatigue from like that previous turn where we did engage, things like that, maybe we did pick up a damage from or fatigue from shooting or being shot at, I should say. Then, in a turn where maybe we can move into some cover, gain some rest, we can ideally remove that point of fatigue for free, and then still free up our command points for other important things. Or if we really just we've acquired a little bit too much and it's starting to affect our actions, well, we can always reserve one of our command points to rally and things like that. But really, this is going to be, I think, an aggressive character, with pirates already being a very aggressive faction, right? Getting up close and personal in a lot of the cases, really taking advantage of what he is good at is going to be the best fit for him. Now, without having the video go too long, we still need to take a look at what he does as a fighting man. So, he's just a 5-point upgrade there. Nationality, pirates, of course. So, only a force commanded by Blackbeard. So, if we really want to bring in a little bit more star power into what is already, probably the most famous or infamous pirate, Blackbeard, right? So that means, right, we have to have Blackbeard as the commander. So whether it's whatever force Blackbeard goes in, then we can buy him as an upgrade. Now, if we're already using Blackbeard as an upgrade character, then obviously we can't necessarily have them together here as just character or upgrade characters in that sense. But anyway, no command points, no command range here. But what he does have is the hard chargers, the ruthless, and the unwavering, which we didn't see when we had him as a leader. So unwavering, again, we don't see that one too much as well. But basically, if the unit begins an activation shaken, it immediately removes a point of fatigue. And if this would leave it with 2 or fewer, then it can take actions normally. So another sort of nice defensive buff there, in contrast to tough. So at some point, basically, he swaps out unwavering for tough when he becomes a leader. But he has another ability too. If this model's unit is aboard a ship and Blackbeard is removed as a casualty, this model's unit may attempt to blow up the ship. To do so, the unit must take an assignment action to assign itself to the attempt. After doing so, the unit begins its next activation still assigned. Or if the unit does still assigned, treat the ship this unit is aboard as if it suffered 2 consecutive catastrophic damage hull crit hits. So a neat little ace in the hole, something, if an opponent's never really come across that or don't really know the trick here with that, and they decide to board you, they take out Blackbeard. Hey, yay, great, we took out Blackbeard, hooray! But Caesar could pull this move and maybe trap a lot of the opponent's key units on board your ship. Obviously, you're kind of hurting yourself more by killing off another one of your characters and the unit that they're with. But it's a neat way to sort of just as a final act of defiance against the opponent. Things are probably already going bad if you're playing a big enough game where your ship gets boarded, Blackbeard gets taken out, and now really Caesar's going to have to sacrifice himself too. But it is a neat way to sort of maybe somewhat even the odds and just wipe out a bunch of the enemy should they have still remained on your ship. So all together, really cool stuff. Neat character just all around in both versions here. And again, let's not discount the dude is rocking a blunderbuss. So let us know how you like Black Caesar, guys, in the game. Where have you fielded him as a leader? Again, Golden Age Pirates or his own custom force? Or do you prefer him more as a fighting man? Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll have more Blood and Plunder for you soon. Thanks for watching.